Most junior front-end developers actually misread the job specs, but here's how you can fix that. As someone who's been a hiring manager, a lead front-end developer, and been through the gauntlet many times, I'll show you all the pitfalls to watch out for and how to actually read these job specs properly. So let's go take a look. So I'm going to scroll through this job description and translate it into plain English for you. The first thing we can see off the bat that this is a React junior front-end developer job. So they're going to expect you to be doing React. So in your resume, in your portfolio, in your GitHub, stack it with React projects when you send this application to them. Obviously in your covering letter, mention React. And this basically lines all your ducks up and makes it very easy for the hiring manager to shortlist you. The other thing is it is fully remote, which is fantastic. The salary is over six figures, 106 to about $124,000. Now keep in mind, recruiters always shield their client from the full budget available, which is, fantastic for junior front-end developers. But one thing to keep in mind, the budget is not what it appears. I always used to ask for 10 to 15% more because I knew the budget was there and I always used to get it. The jobs where I didn't get the extra budget that I asked for, I wouldn't carry on with the application. I'd just go to the others. And this is how you can operate in this field, especially as you get more seniority. It's good to know that this is how budgets are managed and this is what's hidden in a job spec. So that's a skill that you can take with you beyond this video and beyond this job spec. Now this is a contractor role. This is not a full-time position. So this is a long-term contract, and what that means is essentially they're going to want you to hit the ground running with this job. And as it says down here, this is a hands-on coding job, 80 to 95%. So very little AI, mostly coding. You're going to be doing contract work on the spot. Now, contract work doesn't necessarily mean it's unstable. What it means is it's higher pay, a faster pace, and output matters more than politics. So you're not jostling for a promotion all the time. Having said that, there are companies who prefer a 12-month contract as opposed to a full-time contract, Microsoft being one of them. Microsoft love 12 to 18-month contracts, so it doesn't necessarily, you're not going to be kept on for years and years, but keep that in mind. So this is perfect for skill growth, this position, because you're going to be learning in the job. It's going to be fast paced, lots of coding, but not ideal if you're looking to have your hand held and you want more support, more mentoring. This probably won't be the job for you. So that's a good one to keep in mind. Now, this 80 to 95% hands-on coding, let's break this down a little bit more because it's slightly different to the long-term contract. So you're going to be coding most days, not stuck in meetings and not doing fake dev work like create this unit test or go and recreate this component we already have and see how you get on. If you don't enjoy writing code daily, this probably won't be for you. Now let's go to this first line here. So it says support key product enhancements. This means you won't be building toy apps. You're improving real production software and you're working inside an existing code base with others. And this is where most juniors fall short, where they're not quite understanding what is being asked of them, and their projects need to reflect more real world projects, more hands-on things that you will be building in this job. No calculator apps, no clone projects of Spotify, Reddit or whatever. Those aren't important to hiring managers. They need to see real UI flows, they need to see dashboards, they need to see authentication systems. They need to see things that you will be building for them. So maybe even a component library of some kind. Next is third-party integrations. What that means is you'll be working with APIs, authentication, payments, analytics, and real-world data. Very importantly, usually user data. This is the difference between I followed a tutorial and I've built real software, just like I just mentioned. Further down, it says resolve default build. Further down, it says commitment to team success and positive dynamics. So they're looking for a team player, someone who can work in a team. Oftentimes, one question that they ask is, what if the company or the team is resistant to a new technology that you're used to and you think is better? How would you integrate that into the team? And obviously, they want you to integrate it in a democratic, consensus type of way where you've got general consensus within your team because you've won them over with a good argument of why this technology should be used, instead of saying, no, this is the best, they're wrong, I'm right. If they disagree, they don't want people with that approach, and they weed those people at this very early stage. If you don't mention it at all in your covering letter, or if you don't, mention it in the initial screening with the recruiter, these are things that essentially cull you from being shortlisted. So explore prototyping and designing one or more components to be deployed in AWS. So you need to be good at building components, deploying them, demoing them. So using Vercel, GitHub Pages, Netlify to demo these. I would suggest all of this can be done with a component library in Storybook. Also, understanding Figma will be really good here, and understanding how to do frameworks for components. These are all great things to do prior to this interview, and have this in your GitHub, have this in your resume, in your covering letter. And they want you to prove this by having this in your resume. So make sure all these points here, this is literally a cheat code for getting shortlisted. It's telling you these are all the things I want you to include in the covering letter, but don't make it sound like it's a list and you're following it in the exact order that's written in the job spec. You have to be a bit more natural in your delivery with your knowledge of these things. And you have to prove it. Don't say stuff that you can't prove in your GitHub or your resume. That's very, very important because you will get asked about it. Now, very importantly, it says here 3 to 5 years of experience, just in general, for several things. Now, again, this is a junior front-end developer job. So this is one of those maddening things that you see in these job specs that puts off a lot of juniors. And they're like, well, I haven't got 3 to 5 years experience, so how can I apply for this job? A lot of times these are mismatched. It's actually an industry standard in the States to put such a huge amount of experience because that is more akin to a senior developer. If it's 5 years, it's probably going to be nearer to a senior developer. If it's 3 years, it's probably going to be a mid-level developer. So in no way, shape or form is 3 to 5 years a junior developer role. So that's incorrect. That doesn't happen anywhere outside of the States. Maybe very rarely. But this is something, I have no idea why this is a thing. So be very bullish with this. Just apply anyway. Ignore this because it is incorrect. Because if they're looking for a junior front-end developer, they will have 0 years of experience or project experience, or they've been on a boot camp, or they've been, in a mentorship. That's the experience that they'll have. So for them to ask for all this experience, it's incorrect. And oftentimes it's a way to weed out applications. So be very bullish, apply anyway, if you can prove that you can do all the other things they're asking for. Speaking of which, they're looking for mobile first, responsive, single page application. So there's a couple things to break down. They want you to build mobile first. So you need to understand what mobile first means. So make sure you understand that mobile first means you build the mobile version first and then the rest of the site, because you are understanding that the majority of the web now uses mobile phones to access the internet. So that's the UI people are going to see first. Responsive single page applications. Well, responsive web development, that's something that you need to understand and be very, very good at, because that will come up in the interview. They'll probably ask you to build a site responsively. And single page applications, or a SPA. You need to understand what a SPA is, and that's probably an indication of what you'll be building. So very much there's several really good points here, and you need to be very strong in this and probably mention this in your covering letter. Include it in your GitHub somewhere in a project, in a description, with a project that hits all these. Strong expertise in JavaScript, of course. Yep. And it's telling you SaaS here, importantly. So this is a company that's going to be using SaaS. It's going to be using nested CSS in some way, shape or form, whether it's going to be used in JS, perhaps. But it's probably the fact that they want you to be able to understand how SaaS works, because in whatever they're using, that's useful for them. So they could be using CSS modules with SaaS, for example. So yeah, very, very important to know. This tells you exactly what they want. They want you experience in designing applications using JavaScript, React, and CSS. Obviously, designing applications makes no sense because you don't design applications with JavaScript, React, and CSS. So this shows that the person writing this is not technical. They've just given away the game there. That is being written by a recruiter. So this has probably been put together by either a recruiter or AI or something. So you're dealing with someone who isn't necessarily technical. So that is very important to be aware of, because then you understand maybe not everything on this list is correct. So that's important to know, and you can correct them on it if they ever bring it up. Knowledge on package bundling and interpreting frameworks like Webpack and Babel. So they're very much telling you Do you know what Webpack and Babel is? Chances are they're probably not going to ask you on this, but Babel is something that allows modern JavaScript and modern versions of JavaScript to be used on, I guess, older. Allows us to use it whilst it's not fully released yet on browsers. And Webpack is just, an engine for running websites. That's all you really need to know. But it's a particular type. It's very complicated as well for a junior. There are easier ways of doing it, and it's important to know that this is used under the hood in other things as well. So important to know these two, and it's asking for you to demonstrate that you know that, so worth learning. Solid design and coding skills. So they keep mentioning this time and time again. Design and coding, and they keep mentioning the word design. So it is worth getting to know Figma. It is worth getting to know the concepts of prototyping, wireframing, just in case this is very much a split design job. Now, I've had that in the past as a senior and lead front-end developer. I've gone and designed UIs and features in absence of a designer. Maybe a designer has left and we don't have any designers in that team anymore. So then a front-end developer will have to go and design. This is something that happens. Redux and Redux sagas is an important part of the app. So understanding global state, understanding the position of React context in that, because that is the default global state in React. Understanding how they all interact with each other, which is better, what is better for which scenario is very important. But they do want you to know Redux going into this. So that is something that you will need to demonstrate in your GitHub and your covering letter. So they want you to be experienced in Scrum, Agile. This is a standard way of operating in software engineering teams now. So do a little research into Scrum and Agile. What is the difference? What are the practices of taking part in a software engineering team that does Agile? All the ceremonies, the stand-up, the refinement, all those things that take place in a software engineering team, understanding what sprints are. Good to know beforehand. And then finally, it asks you to know about these technologies. And again, this is to do with unit testing, with Chai, Mocha, React, Testing Library, Enzyme, and Jest. These are all unit testing libraries and end-to-end testing libraries. Make sure that you understand these very well, that you demonstrate that you can do these. So do a very simple, maybe tutorial, build something, put it on GitHub so you have a very cursory knowledge of it. And then it says here, we want you to be good with REST and GraphQL. Now, REST is fine. REST APIs is something you've probably done already and worked with. I would demonstrate it in a project and make sure you mention it in your resume and covering letter. But GraphQL is fairly advanced. That is something that is a little bit more out there. So you will probably have to do a standalone project in GraphQL, and there's a lot to get your head around in there. But they're saying very clearly they want someone who has good knowledge in GraphQL. So that's obviously a big part of the job. Now, if you hit all of these technologies, understand what they're actually saying, and you write a covering letter with that understanding, there is no reason that you couldn't apply for this job and get shortlisted. Then you have to have the soft skills to be able to land the interview and the technical skills as well to clinch it. But understanding how these job specs are actually written and what they're actually saying under the hood is super, super important for your success as someone applying for these jobs. And it's one of the major reasons why junior developers never get anywhere. They could be applying for a year and they just don't understand what the disconnect is. What is it that these people are looking for? Well, it's in here, but it's not in plain sight. So you have to kind of translate between the misunderstanding of recruiters who are miswriting these. They're obviously in the salary potentially and in the requirements down here, obviously not understanding how much experience a junior front-end developer has written. So what ends up happening is that there's a big disconnect between what the requirements that the job wants and what they're actually getting. They're hoping someone with a lot of experience applies for this junior front-end developer job, but in reality, it shouldn't be this. And now you know basically what this is saying under the hood. So I hope that helped. I hope that helped breaking this job description down. And now that you know that, if you hit all those points that I mentioned here on how to counter all these, you can start applying for six-figure junior front-end developer jobs as well. Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe and follow for the next one.